So, rational equations. Here you are, listening to this ridiculous video. What I want you to do first is simply put this in your journal exactly as it appears. Title it Rational Equations. Now what I'm going to do, because there's this pesky dadgum little negative sign, I'm going to apply that negative to every little thing that's in the numerator. So could you guys do that with me right now? We're just going to apply that negative. So it's going to become what? A negative x squared. A negative x. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So I'm going to put plus 8 over. You'll notice something. This has already been factored for you, so that's kind of cool. Like, it's already been factored. All right? Now, that is set equal to x over x minus 3. Now, I'm going to leave a little room over here, okay? I'm just going to draw that out a little bit further. What I need you guys to understand is whenever you guys are adding fractions, what do we always have to find when you're adding fractions together? Like if I had, say, 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 to see what that equaled, what do we always have to find back in elementary school? Common denominator, all right? So we'd have to find what was called the least common denominator. And what would be the least common denominator between a 2 and a 3? Least common denominator would be a 6. Okay? So what would that mean? We're just do a quick little review here of like why you need to know what the least common denominator is. If the least common denominator is a 6, then what would I have to multiply this by? A 3 over a 3. What would I have to multiply this by? 2 over 2. And what do we get? We get 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6. So what is 1/2 plus 1/3 equal to? 5 over 6. Does everybody see that if you have the same denominator, watch this. If you have the same denominator, I want you to understand that everything in the numerator will equal each other. So for example, what if I had 3 over 6 plus x over 6 equaled 5 over 6, you wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of work because all the denominators are the same. So what could we set equal to each other? 3 plus x equals 5. And what would x have to equal? 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a least common denominator, all right, for this guy. Well, the least common denominator is going to be x minus 3, because they already share that in common, times an x plus 5. So here's what I want you to do. In your journal, I want you to multiply the denominator and the numerator by x plus 5. Okay? Now, what I need you to understand, now that you've done that, you can say this, everybody. This is now equal to this. You guys see that? This will now equal this. Just like what? 3 plus 2 equaled a 5. This trinomial will equal this, the product of this monomial and that binomial. So here's all you got to do. Just write down negative x squared minus x plus 8 equals x times x, which is x squared. I distributed the negative. Okay? X times x, which is x squared. X times 5, which is 5 what? 5x. Okay. Now, this is a quadratic, right? So if it's a quadratic, what do we need to set all quadratics equal to? We set all quadratics equal to 0. So check this out. Let's add an x squared and add an x squared. Let's add an x. Let's add an x. And let's take away an 8. And let's take away an 8. So what have we done over here? We've made everything equal to what? 0. On the right-hand side, if I have an x squared plus an x squared, that's a total of 2x squared. If I have 5 plus 1 more x, that's a total of 6x. So we have a quadratic, and unfortunately for us, it leads with a 2, but fortunately for us, all of these coefficients are divisible by what number? So if you want to, you are allowed. This is allowable. This is one of those rules that you are allowed to do. You are allowed to divide everything by 2 to make your life easier. 0 equals x squared plus 3x minus 4. And this is where you get to do the fun stuff, which is like two numbers that add together to equal a 3. But those exact same two numbers, when you multiply them together, they equal a negative 4. And what are those two numbers? 4 and negative 1 is correct. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So we have some factors, and factoring is important, and it's fun, in my personal opinion. Some of you are like, your opinion is not valid. All right. Now, everybody, we factored it, correct? We factored it beautifully. All right. However, we haven't finished it. We have to finish solving it. What number would you plug in to make it equal to 0? A negative 4. What number would you plug that in to make it equal to 0? 1. So I have a solution set of a negative 4 and a 1. And I like to build a solution set where it goes from least to greatest. That's what I like to do. Okay? However, we have to make sure that before we plug this in, we got to see if there's any extraneous solutions. Okay? So here we go. You go back up to the top. There's your solution set. Let's look. Okay. What are the numbers that we weren't allowed to plug in? Give me a number that would be a bad number to plug in right there. A 3. What about right there? Negative 5. And what about there? 3. So what if we would have gotten, as a solution, if we would have gotten a 3 or a negative 5, then we wouldn't select them. Okay? But did we get a 3 or a negative 5? No, we got a what? Negative 4 and a 1. So you guys see where it says choose all answers that apply? What's one of the answers I'm going to choose? Negative 4, and what was the other one? 1. Okay? Now, if you mess up, I'm going to go to where it says see step-by-step solution. Okay? Whew, let me see what they did. Wow. Okay. Now, eventually they got what? See how they got to our area right here? Okay? What I want you guys to see, though, here's kind of the cool news. Technically, let me tell you. Technically, here's all that they did. You don't have to write it down, but this is what they did. They took this whole thing, and they multiplied it by x minus 3 times x plus 5, so that everything ends up canceling out, and you're left with this. All right? But basically, what did I want you guys to know? If I go back, gone. All right? I want you to know that this numerator will equal what? This numerator will equal this numerator as long as you have a common what? Common denominator. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and do one more. If you don't want to do one more with me, that's okay. But I'm going to go ahead and do one more. And if you want to write it down with me, you may. Otherwise, you can work on your own. All right? We have one more right here that I'm going to do. We'll see how it goes. So the first thing we're going to do on this guy is we're going to find out what its least common denominator. See that pesky little negative that they like to put there? So where am I going to apply that? I'm just going to move it where? Move it right up there by that 5. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm just going to put negative 5, just like that. And it looks like this denominator is x times x minus 1. Okay? And then over here, we have x plus 5 over x. So what is this denominator missing that this one has? X minus 1. So here's what I want you to do. So I'm going to put LCD. The least common denominator for this problem is literally x times x minus 1. That's what's going to match things up here. So I'm going to multiply this right here by x minus 1. We're going to multiply this by x minus 1. Okay? Now, here's the cool news. Because I now have this one, this matching this, what am I allowed to set equal to each other? I'm allowed to set -5 equal to the product of those. So here's what I got to add in, okay? I got to add in a parentheses. Let me go and add it in, okay? Yeah. Now, we could do the FOIL method, but this one's we don't actually have to use the FOIL method on this one. Check this out. We can just say, what is 5 plus a -1? All right? So we know we're going to have what? X squared plus 4x. And what's 5 times -1? -5. So 5 minus 1 is 4, and 5 times -1 is -5. So that's kind of a shortcut if you just have two binomials and the coefficients in front of the x is just a 1. Okay, so we don't have to do the FOIL method. All right, equals. Hey, look what's on the other side, everybody. -5. This is going to make our life super easy. Because look what happens when we add 5 to both sides. Look what happens. They cancel out. So literally all we have left is what? 0 equals x squared plus 4x. Now, how does that easy? How does that make it easy? So let me explain why this is easy. What does an x squared and a 4x have in common? They have the factor known as x in common. And if I factor out an x, what am I left with? X plus 4 equals 0. Wait a second. How do you know that? Well, use the distributive property. What is x times x? X squared. What is x times 4? 4x. That's how you can check yourself. Okay? Before you wreck yourself. Now, what number could I plug in right there that would make everything equal to 0? That's right, 0. Because if you multiply 0 times anything, it is 0. And what number could you make right there equal to 0? -4. So what are my two possible answer choices as a solution set? -4 and 0. All right, -4 and 0. Now check this out. We got to make sure that they both work. So scroll back up. Uh-oh. See right there, if I plug in a 0 right there or right there, that would be bad, right? So what do we call it? You guys remember what we call this answer because we can't use it? Yeah, that's an extraneous solution. I wish the word extraneous wasn't so long. All right, extraneous, it's not too bad. All right, I'm glad my name's not like ridiculously long that we have to like sign it. It says sign your full name and you're like your mom or dad named you some like super long name. Whew, that'd be awful. All right, but this is an extraneous solution. That would be a horrible name to name your kid, by the way. Hey, extraneous! That'd be awful. Extraneous solution. You're a solution that I had that really doesn't work. Ooh, that would be awful. Oh. All right, so what's the only answer I'm going to choose, guys? -4. All right, here we go. Woohoo! Now, uh-oh, look at that. Was 0 one of the options? Oh, those sneaky little buggers. All right, one more. Ooh, this is a good one. I like it. Hey, I like how they didn't put a negative on that one. All right, yay for us. Okay, let's do one more, and then you won't have to listen to me anymore. You can just work on your own. Okay, some of you have already started that. Now, I'm gonna take my time. I've got x minus 3 over x plus 1. Except, watch what I'm gonna do. I'm going to extend it a little bit more, okay? I'm going to put that guy in parentheses. I'm going to set it equal to, I've got what, 4x minus 6 all over parentheses x plus 1, x plus 2. All right. So what do you guys think our least common denominator is going to be? Yes, x plus 1 and x plus 2. All right? So this has everything that we need. This does not have everything that we need, so what do we have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by? X plus 2. So just multiply this by x plus 2. Multiply this by x plus 2. And so now what have we done? We've made our denominators exactly the same. So if our denominators are exactly the same, then we know what's going to match. This numerator is going to match this numerator, okay? But what am I going to do that's going to be, I got to make sure I do, I got to put this in what? Put this in parentheses. So what is x minus 3 times x plus 2? Well, we know it's going to be a what? X squared. And negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, so put negative x. And negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6, so that's kind of the shortcut. All right, and so this is all equal to 4x minus 6. Now, being that this is a quadratic, I think at this point everybody knows you set quadratics equal to 0. All right, so we're going to set it equal to 0. So how do we do that? We got to take away a 4x, and we got to take away a 4x. Yay, we get to add a 6. Yes, that makes our life a little bit easier because we have less factoring involved, okay? So what do we have left? We have what? X squared minus a 5x, and that zeroes out, that zeroes out, that zeroes out. So with that, all of that equals what? 0. So what could I factor? Interesting. I don't have 5 as one of the answers. Did I mess up somewhere? No? No, I'm just saying. Maybe I messed up somewhere. Hold on. Let me check. I'm going to pause real quick and see if I messed up anywhere. All right. Well, I double checked it. I think this is right here. I'm going to put x parentheses x minus 5 equals 0. And I could put a what? A 0, or I could put what number? 5. But I don't see a 5 here. I only see what? I only see a 0. And when I typed it into Desmos, exactly as it appears, where do these intersect? 0 and 5. They don't intersect anywhere else. So you know what? If I get it wrong, I'll be curious what they say the other answer is. All right, 0 and 5. So I'm only going to select 0. Oh! Really? They're putting A through F? Golly! When are they going to go like, okay, which answer is it? A, B, C, D, all the way through Z. Come on. Seriously? Okay, so there's the 0 and the 5. I was getting all worked up for nothing. Golly. I'm getting... Sheesh. Yay. Yay us. Come on, guys. A through F. Come on. SAT doesn't have A through F. You're killing us over here. All right. Y'all have a good day. All right. That's all you got to do. All right. Find your least common denominator. You got A through F here again. All right. Forget you guys. All right. Bye.